Hello, everyone. I'm excited to dive into today's topic, especially because I've been to a wedding of one of my best friends in Mexico the other week, and so I got super inspired to share on the topic of divine union, on the topic of inner union, outer union, and so on, and how important that is for us to embody, to integrate. Lately, I have a few clients that um, I sign up, and the topic was divine union. The topic was relationships. So it's interesting. So I thought, okay, let me give it a chance to speak about this and share more about this because my journey with relationships and in general, my journey with being in partnership, whether romantic or in collaborations and co-creations, was extremely transforming. It shaped who I am. It shaped what I've become. And so, again, relationships, I feel like the relationships are the most important catalyst for our growth. They are a mirror of who we are and who we are becoming, on who we were in the past. They are a mirror of our wounds. They are a mirror of our conditioning. They are basically a mirror of how much can we love, or how hurt we are, and what do we need to work on in order to be able to love more, right? In a nutshell. And that love, we pour that love in our purpose, in our creations, in our lives. We build families, we build communities, we build our business based on that love, based on that energy. And so it's super important, obviously, to have relationships that elevate us. And for my own journey, I would share that my relationships so far was extremely and profoundly transformational. I was almost like I was always in the fire. Okay, and so there was a lot of growth, a lot of refining and polishing the diamond inside of me, which is my heart, which is my consciousness. And as well for them, for my partners, and for the people I've been connecting and co-creating with. And it is a massive topic. It's not just about being seen and being validated and receiving love and all of that from the external, which we sometimes project so much on relationships, divine union. We all want a soulmate. We all want that ideal partner that fulfills somehow our life to a degree. It's not about that. In my experience, it's not about that. In my experience, relationships were reflecting me how much I can love. Because I feel already whole inside of me. We are all whole. We are not lacking anything. Right? And so from that place of wholeness, you can actually sustain a relationship. And such was my journey. They riped me, they transformed me, they polished me, they shaped me all the way to I had no choice but to realize I am whole. I am whole with or without a relationship. I do not need this person to fulfill me. However, I do want to be with someone in my life that expands me, that elevates me, and also that I can do the work required in order to grow, to expand, to build an empire, to build a family, a community. And so without relationships, that is actually impossible. We are 8 billion people on this earth, and that is for a reason. So we have to find a way to relate, to connect, to co-create with one another from a place of unity, from a place of harmony. And I believe collectively this is what we are going towards, you know. And of course, you cannot do that with everyone, but with those that are on your path, with your tribe, with your soul family, with the people you're supposed to work with the people that really add value to your life. So how do we reach this point where we really co-create from that place of wholeness, where everyone or most people that we meet really add value to our lives? How do we do that? Well, from my own experience, the only way to do that was to keep becoming whole myself, to be in union within myself, to be in this inner union from the inside out. Because as much as we seek on the outside, we want our boss to treat us in the right way, we want our partner to treat us in the right way, we want to receive love from the external. However, that's only going to happen when we give ourselves that love, when we are in harmony within ourselves, when we end the battle within. Whatever battle that is, can be a battle of lack, a battle of fear, a battle of contradiction, of identity, an image of who we are, who we think we are, what we think we should do. The battle of judgment. Do you know that most of the judgment happens, it's a self-judgment. Most of the judgment that happens is actually a self-judgment. No one judges you. God, the creator, the universe doesn't judge you. Your friends, your family, they might to a degree judge you, but we judge ourselves more than anyone else. So we have to end that battle too. We have to reach compassion for ourselves. There's so many layers when it comes to inner union, to feel in harmony with yourself. And for my own journey, the most powerful way to reach that inner union was to truly look at my masculine side and my feminine side, and to do whatever work was there in order to show up from the most integral place when it comes to these energies, when it comes to being a man, when it comes to, being a woman, in the case of a woman, when it comes to acknowledging and loving my own feminine energy, just as much as a woman has to not only love her own feminine energy, but her masculine energy too, which then reflects how you show up in relationship with another. It reflects that external divine union, if that is possible or not, because you cannot hate the masculine and be in relationship with someone on the external who's a man. You can't. You're going to project that hate on that person, and usually that hate comes from you towards your own masculine energy. It ripple effects there as well, and I get it. Some of us was mistreated by the masculine or the feminine. Some of us have been not loved properly. We don't have a role model, a proper example of masculinity or femininity in society in order to feel safe, in order to emulate a sort of a archetypal energy, and so we project that. And from my own journey, I had always love from the feminine, because my mother loved me deeply. My mother loved me so much, to the degree that she could. Like unconditional love, freedom. She always showed me mercy, grace. She was impeccable in the way she treated me. Of course, she had her own challenges and shadows that I picked up, and I had to I had to close those ancestral patterns, right, that don't serve. But the biggest challenge on my journey was my masculine energy, right? Because I've been born in a world where my father was not present, okay? And because of that, I developed a sense of resistance, a sense of resentment towards the masculine. The masculine doesn't show up, the masculine abandons you, and so on. So I believed that story, and I kept myself in a victim consciousness because of that story. And I had to rewire and heal that loop, that pattern, that story, that reality. And so we all have a challenge. We all go through some sort of disconnect from our feminine or masculine energy. However, once we do the work required, once we bring these energies into harmony and unity within ourselves, then that's when we attract externally a soulmate who's there for our mission. Oh, there's so much purple here. I have a purple light. Let me turn this off. Better. Right? So when it comes to divine union, we all want it. I don't think there's anyone who said, I actually don't want to be in a healthy, harmonious relationship with a man or a woman. I don't think there is someone. If there is, probably that person was deeply hurt in relationships with the masculine or the feminine. And that's okay. I had moments, between my partnerships where I had to sit with myself, where I was not available to be in divine union, when I didn't even care about it. What I cared about was myself in those moments. And so if you're in such phase of your life, that's totally fine. Take care of yourself. Be with yourself. Love yourself. Reach that place of union within. But we all want it externally. Right? We all want to be in relationship with a soulmate, with someone that is there for us, with someone we can build with someone we can share amazing moments with someone we can share laughter with. We all want that. Someone we can share joy, build a family. And so the only way to reach that is to really look at ourselves, to really look into the mirror and ask yourself, am I that person? Am I that partner that I seek in another? Am I available to give that which I seek to receive in another? As simple as that. And when the answer is yes, then we are ready for divine union. When the answer is not yet, there's still a lot that you have to give yourself, there's still a lot of inner work that you have to do, then we are not ready for a divine union externally. However, we might still attract someone in our lives that helps us learn some lessons, that helps us move the energy in the right direction. And this is why on this journey, guys, the most important thing I learned is to never attach. That doesn't mean don't be connected. Stay connected, stay in connection. But do not attach to the outcomes. Do not attach to the idea of that one and only, or that idea of forever. Because let me tell you something that I learned. Anything we attach to, like absolutely anything we attach to, we lose. We lose. It's supposed to be that way. I know it sounds weird sometimes, because what do you mean? I want to, I want to have this thing. What do you mean if I am attaching to it to have it, I'm not going to get it? Well, it is simple. Basically, each time we attach to someone or something, it can be our job, it can be our purpose, it can be, maybe you write a book and you're attaching to the idea of how the book should be, how many copies should you sell. Maybe you attach to your identity. I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, I'm this and that. Whether it's empowering you or it drains you, doesn't matter. The moment you attach to something, you're gonna lose it. Why? Because you are telling the universe, you're telling the creation that there is something more important externally than the creation and the creator itself, which is what we are. It's our essence. There's something more important externally than your energy. And once we do that, we are literally getting outside of our body. We are saying there's something more important to chase, to choose, that I have to be in control of and attached to, otherwise I'm going to be miserable. And in that moment, when we do that, when we got already outside of our bodies and create this mental perspective about something that we attach to, the next thing that happens is we lose that. We lose it. It's going to be removed from our life. It's going to create a gap, a chaos. It's going to create an argument. If that is a person, it's going to create an argument. It's going to create some disconnect that you can actually feel because you're operating from attachment, right? We call that also codependency, where you value something externally more than you value yourself and your own essence and the essence of the creator who runs through you the whole time, which is you. You are disconnecting from your own inner union, because the most important inner union or union that exists out there before the divine union, before the soulmate comes into our lives, before we have this amazing relationship, the most important union that is the union with the creator, the union with God, the union with the universe, the union with source, with our soul, however we call it. So there's different inner unions, there's different types of unions that we have to establish within ourselves before we enter in harmony the field, the space of divine union externally. And so one is we have to be in union with the inner masculine and inner feminine, with our polarity. Then we have to be in union with the wounded part of ourselves, with that ego, that lower part of ourselves that we constantly judge or run away from. We have to be in harmony with that. You can't have a bad thought, or you have like a moment of, when you're simply in a lower state, when you're disconnected, and you can't hate yourself or judge yourself. That's not what you should do in that moment. In that moment, you should love yourself regardless. You should love yourself even when you don't love yourself. That's the secret right there. Love yourself even when you don't love yourself. So we have to be in union with that aspect of ourselves that we constantly push away. And then we have to be in union with the Creator, with the laws of life. However we want to call that. Call it God, call it Source, call it the universe, higher self, your soul, spirit. We have to be in union with that. And it's super important to be in union with that, because that is mostly what we are anyway. We are 80%, 90%, we are pure consciousness having a human experience. Right? So we have to fall in love with that. We have to fall in love with this vessel we have, with this body, with this amazing machine. That we live our lives here temporarily on this planet, on this beautiful planet. So how can we fall in love with another if we haven't fell in love or rise in love, let's put it that way, with our entire multidimensionality, with the whole essence of what we are, the whole spectrum. And that, my friends, that's wholeness. When you come from that place of wholeness, relationships all relationships in your life are going to reflect that. And some people are going to remove themselves from your life. God is going to remove them. You don't even have to do anything. The Creator is going to remove them because they do not reflect where you are. We don't have to figure it out. We don't have to fight. We don't have to prove ourselves, hey, you did this to me and I did that to me. We don't have to blame. We just have to connect with the Creator, and the right relationships come into place. Maybe you had a conflict with someone. When you connect with the Creator and when that person is connected with the Creator, then in that moment, if your destiny is to have that person in your life, there will be a merging, there will be a union, there will be a negotiation. Right? So either people leave your reality or they come into your reality from the right energy. And that includes your soulmate. That includes the partner, the husband, the wife, the partner in crime, the co-creator that you have to live your life with, that you want to live your life with, or the clients, the opportunities, the people who bring value to your life are coming into your experience. Actually sometimes rushing. The more you are connected with that frequency, the more you can sustain that frequency and build your vessel in such a way that that is for you simply normality. Then you will experience miracles and people popping into your experience to bless you, to show you who you are, to co-create with you a great experience. And of course it doesn't happen all the time. Of course we fall from grace sometimes. Of course we stumble and then upon something, an obstacle, a challenge, a memory from the past, a past hurt, something that calls us into some sort of transformation. And we have to embrace that, because that is going to keep us growing even deeper, even further in connection, in union with ourselves and with another. All challenges are here to transform us into the person we are supposed to be. All challenges are here to help us live our greatest destiny. All of them. I know this can be like, what do you mean? What do you mean, Alex? Like, I experienced this massive trauma when I was young. Do you mean that because of that, that was supposed to be there to transform me into my greatest destiny? Yes, absolutely. What else do you do with that? Do you stay a victim? Do you use it against yourself to stay a victim, to become a victim and stay in that energy of disempowerment? Even if it was painful, even if it was like hurting a lot. I have clients that have been through cancer. I know people in my life that's been through deep challenges, like health-wise or deep traumas. And at some point they had to stay and sit with that trauma, sit with that disconnect, with that uncomfortable energy. And at some point they had to sit with that and say, thank you for teaching me about myself. From here I'm going to choose differently. And that's when we can transcend an illness. That's when we can get out of a loop or a pattern that we've been so deeply involved in for so many years in our lives that we don't even know another reality. So we have to make peace with everything that challenged us. And I know for some it feels unfair, right? We feel, oh well, why do you tell me that somehow God or I chose that for myself? Who gave me that pain? It is what it was. You need to trust that your intelligence, your inner intelligence, knows exactly why you came here on earth, what you have to go through in order to evolve, to transform. And that was part of the process. Whether that comes from a past life incarnation, whether that comes from your own desire to incarnate in a lineage with a certain ancestry. Say hello to my cat. With a certain with a certain ancestry that involves deep pain that you had to transform. Because we are all here in these times in a moment of great awakening of who we truly are and reconnecting back to what we are as creators in this realm, in this universe, on this planet. So we cannot just use these excuses to stay disempowered. You have to face them, no matter what they are. I met people that don't have hands and legs and they are thriving and becoming international, global public speakers. Nothing can stop them. There's people that really go through deepest challenges, and sometimes you look at your own challenge. I personally did that and I said, oh my God, I actually have no problem compared with other people. And I'm not saying this to make yourself feel better, but to understand that no matter what challenges you go through, there's always someone that has a bigger challenge or perceives their own challenge or their own problem as bigger sometimes. And that shouldn't hold you back from living your greatest life. That should actually teach you and me and everyone what it needs to teach us, and utilize that to empower ourselves, to learn from it, and to also be a pillar of support for others that maybe go through the same thing. And that's when we actually utilize our gifts. And this is how the divine union idea, template as a whole adds to our lives as well. Because once we are in divine union, internally and externally, our mission shows, our purpose shows up, because we have capacity to hold it. And I've been doing this work with people to live their greatest destiny for years now, for 10 years if not more. And I know there's another level. I've been in partnerships in these 10 years. I've been in partnerships maybe half of the time. Yeah, like 5 years I've been in partnerships, 5 years maybe I've been single. And every time I'm in a place where I feel fulfilled within myself, where I feel like, okay, I reached this point where I really, like, my business works, I have clients, I have everything works great, I'm inspired, I'm creative, and everything works great. When I reach that point, there's always something inside of me that says, wow, imagine now attracting a soulmate, attracting someone that I can elevate even more, I can have even more impact, I can have even more, I can give more, right? Because when two consciousnesses are in union and matching and share the same mission and have beautiful complementary energy to each other, that elevates everyone around them. That inspires everyone. And if there's anything that this world needs more of, that is union, that is divine union, that is people who actually walk the path and live their greatest destiny together as well. Because alone you can only reach so far. So this is why divine union is so important. It's an amplifier for your purpose, for your mission, for your well-being. I love how royal my cat stays there behind. So we have to trust this path. If it's calling you, if you're here and you're like, oh wow, I feel that there's a divine union calling me. I feel that there's, something greater to be accomplished with that. Not just because you feel alone, not just because you need to be validated by someone in your life, and no, because there's a deeper reason for it. Then trust that. trust that and embrace that. That's where I'm at in my journey right now. I'm starting to dive deeper into divine union externally, okay? Because that's the time. It's time for expansion. It's time for more. It's time for family. It's time for community. It's time for the true template, the foundation, I would say, of society to be reinstalled. Do you know that there's one society deep into the past and in the future, because time doesn't really exist, right? So depends how you look at it, but some of you might heard of it. It's called Lemuria, and it's a civilization that it is said that they lived around 50,000 years ago, all the way to like 13,000 years ago. And their principle, the foundation of their society was divine union. And it was very simple. It was like mother, right here in the womb area, father and child. This is the Holy Trinity. This is the code of divine union. Now, if you're looking at Christianism, which is one of the biggest religions on the planet, which is probably what most of us are, I'm Christian not by choice, but by birth. And I've been learning how much is actually truth in that religion and how much is actually inversion or distortion, because it was manipulated by the Roman Empire for their own gain. And that's when patriarchy started to deeply be installed in society. And if you look at how they do the symbolism, the cross, is like in the name of the Father, the Son, the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, Amen. Right? Where is the mother? Where is the feminine? Where is it in this process? Some people say, well, the feminine is Holy Spirit. No, it's not. The feminine is the union between the masculine and the feminine, which is God, which is how this universe is created, through two polarities. Where is the feminine in the process? Where is the mother? We say in the name of the Father, the Son, and Holy Spirit. Where is the mother? The mother has to be in the process. And it's not. You know, and that's why we live in a masculine, man-made world. 90% of it is masculine. As simple as that. And now we are going into a new phase in our evolution of consciousness, where we're going to be back in harmony, back in balance. Because there was in the past also matriarchal societies, woman-led societies, more like isolated, and they still are today. There are groups and tribes that are led by women, which, by the way, they are thriving more than we thrive in patriarchy, because the woman is always a little bit more connected with the creation. She's more emotional, she's more loving. This is why the creator, God, however you call it, the universe, made the woman with a womb, made the woman with a portal. She has a portal inside her body where spirit joins matter, and it actually creates a human being. How crazy is that? How wild is that? And of course, we as men, we have the seed for that. Great. But we are not deeply involved into that process as the woman is in her own experience, in her own body. So she has been given this graceful ability, I would say, because she's able to emotionally relate deeper with the creation. While we men, instead of being in position of power and controlling and fight for resources and other stuff, we are supposed to protect, we are supposed to provide, we are supposed to lead this into well-being, So we got it a little bit twisted down the line for the last thousands of years, because some people chose or wanted to be in a position of power. I am the leader. I say how things are. I am God. I conquer. I take over the planet. I do. And so we are living in that type of society all the way to today, which, if you think about it, it comes from scarcity. It comes from lack. It comes from thinking that you're not yet good enough. It comes from some wounded boy, right? And not to blame anyone or anything for that. There's many leaders nowadays in the world that come from that energy. There's many men that do not have, they are in massive leadership position, and they don't have emotional intelligence. They don't understand the feminine. They don't value the feminine. And we are dealing with this on a collective level. Women themselves, they do not value themselves, because they've been taught, they've been silenced each time they try to cope with their own energy, with their own power, right? Through generations, they've been silenced. They've been, let's face it, burned at the stake. There's nothing to hide here. I'm not going to sugarcoat the truth. And I don't want to blame the masculine for it either. Let's say that we all have been living in this really deep density of consciousness, dark age if you want, that we finally have to learn, we finally have to forgive each other, we finally have to figure out a way on how to co-create the family unit, the family structure, the inner union, the outer union, the divine union, and implement that into society again. Not individualism, not consumerism and take as much as you can, because if not, it's going to be taken. Everything is in abundance on this earth. Do you know that? There is no lack. Lack doesn't exist. It's inflicted, it's created. Someone decided, I'm going to print money and you're going to earn only $7 an hour or $10 an hour doing this job because I say so, and I say how much value your work has. And we're like, okay, master, let's follow. Let's follow your survival fear and instincts, while at the same time in projection of control and power, while at the same time those rules don't apply. Those rules don't apply for these people. They don't, right? And now we live in a world where you can make millions of dollars from your laptop. So everything changes. Everything changes. You can be a millionaire from the comfort of your couch. You can work on yourself on so many ways, through so many methods. I recommend the best method, which is nature, relationships. That's the best catalyst right there. And once we are in a union, once we reach that place of wholeness within ourselves, everything shifts on the external. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. This sharing is also going to be recorded, and I'm going to put it on Insight Timer here later as a discussion, as an audio track, and also on YouTube. So I'm excited. But now I want to hear from you guys. Where are you on this journey of divine union? What do you feel like sharing? What is it that you need to process to have a breakthrough, to have an insight, to move to the next journey on your path? Please share that with me. And for those of you who feel a deeper calling to dive into this, a deeper calling to work on that inner union, work on that wholeness inside of you, and align with your greatest destiny, with your soul destiny, with the reasons you came here for, and simply live the life you deserve. Share that with me in a private message. Reach out to me in a private message and share that with me. Share what that is, and let's connect. Whether we do some deeper work or not, I just want to see where you are in your journey, and yeah, support you further if possible. If you see this later, you can also check more info below here. And have a beautiful rest of the week. Much love, and remember, you are the creator. Act like it. Ciao for now.